Oh, 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 oh. Uh, uh, uh. I'm out of town, thugging with my round.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Two Ways to Say It podcast. I am Ashley.
And this your boy Plies. No, this is KC.
Yes. Okay, y'all. So tonight we're just gonna go ahead and get straight into it. We're talking about generational curses and what generational wealth as well. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Mr. KC. What you got for me?
All right. So when, of course, we talked about it, in person, but when I think about generational curses, the first one I
Mm-hmm.
thought about was the idea of marriage. Um,
Okay.
and of course, I can say for my family and many other families, and that's an old tradition. People feel like marriage is the end game, that you have to get married. Like you can't, it don't make sense if you don't get married. What are you in a relationship for? What you talking to people for if you get married, married. Um, so for me, I feel like that's a curse, right? Because as we see, people because people think that because it's a tradition where you have to get married to somebody, people literally end up with people who they don't want to be with.
Mhm.
They are forcing themselves in situations. They get that's where it leads to a lot of divorces being over quick because they hear people telling them like you got to get married. Like especially when you go to like the little get-togethers and all that stuff. And the first thing they say, when you gonna get married? Same thing
Yep.
they kind of ask like, when you gonna have a child? But they ask more like, when
Yeah.
you gonna get married? Even when you could be talking to somebody and they be like, when y'all gonna get married? It's just like
A
this
lot of
thing that
pressure.
like yeah, and they feel like that if you don't do it, then apparently what y'all doing is not complete or it's not like I don't know, meeting up to some love standard. So
Right.
now that's one. So when I think the biggest thing out of it, I think I want to see that's why I think a lot of people get divorces because
Mhm.
in their head people have been or like if they have in their head they're like I gotta get married to somebody like it don't make sense if I'm not married if I don't get married. No. They don't literally just feel like people make them feel bad for just literally dating somebody or just being with somebody without it being like an end game to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my generational curse.
That is interesting. I feel like that can be a curse because especially as a woman, for me, I do feel like it can be or is a lot of pressure to get married.
Mm,
Especially at 33. Again, like you said, when you get around people's like, do you have a man? When you get married, you don't want to get married because of course y'all know I don't want to get married. It's just not
mm-hmm.
my style. And granted, if I turn 40 and y'all see me married, just know somebody put the okie doke on me. Hit me with the okie doke.
They
But
did.
and granted, who's to say by 50 again that I probably want to be married. But right now I just don't see myself being married. And again, like I talked about in the last podcast, I enjoy being single. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy just being in a relationship. I could be in a relationship, but just not getting married. And sometimes I do see a lot of women too as well get caught up in the whole marriage thing and
Mm-hmm.
end up marrying the person that you shouldn't be married to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen situations where the parents have pressured
Yep.
their children
Mm-hmm.
into getting married and it doesn't last because
Right.
either they had a baby before wedlock,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote before wedlock, but and now they're pressuring their children to get married. And we got to be for real, most of the time when the child, you know, is involved, is actually harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I've witnessed that, and that's one thing that I'm just willing to work on for my future
Mm-hmm.
family is to just enjoy life. If you want to get married, get married. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. Don't feel the
Exactly.
pressure into doing that.
Mm-hmm. And especially when you think about the culture that we just say our own culture. When we're such a free culture, it's some cultures where they're literally like they have to get married. It's in their culture, right? Like where they literally set their daughters up with certain men, or by this age they got to be looking for their husband and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some way that we adapt to this when that's not even our culture, really, right? We are. free, quote unquote. We can do what we want to do. It's not like somebody wrote it down or it's against our religion if we don't. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say that it's against our religion or whatever to not get married and stuff like that. I just feel like if I get them to put it like I actually even just going deeper than marriage. I don't like when people a parent try to necessarily put there like say put your daughter with somebody because you feel like oh he'll make a good husband and stuff. When you
Right.
think like that, you kind of put them in this tunnel where like first you're gonna be putting pressure on your daughter. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
make her stay with somebody. You're not even really thinking about okay, what if she don't like it? What if it's
Mm-hmm.
other stuff outside of the marriage that she probably don't want? You're pressuring her to like, you know what I'm saying? Like go to him, go
Yeah.
to him. Even you can say like, and I understand it, I guess, to an extent, like even they can have a good career, they might be athlete, whatever. That's what I'm parent, they're gonna push them in this marriage thing. And if you
Mm-hmm.
look 9 times out of 10, let's say 8 times out of 10, it don't be working out because they really didn't necessarily like each other enough to be married. It's just the point of people saying, get married, get married, get married. That's the end point. If you're
Right.
not getting married, what are y'all doing? You got to get attached in that way. And I hate that. I really do
Yeah.
hate that. And I'm
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I know at least two people who parents tried to marry them off, and
Mm-hmm,
granted, it did not turn out well. I don't
mm-hmm,
like that. I don't care for it. I understand, like, you have this idea of the guy like your daughter should marry. It's okay to introduce them to them, like, hey, but I
mm-hmm.
don't think you should literally pressure them into marrying this person just because they have a good job or just because of what they
Yeah.
have the good family or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know about two.
Yeah. And I guess when that and another thing, like I always say, perspective. It depends on what people see as marriage. Um,
Hmm.
I think the idea of marriage is kind of it's shaky depending on who it is. So for some people, it's like we getting together, we can have this union of the money, the kids, the house, and it just makes sense. Like this is the quote unquote American dream. Like that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be married to
Hmm.
somebody. You got to be connected to this person forever, and all that. But it's kind of like we're taking away the part of I. I was thinking marriage is like when you truly love somebody enough. Well, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you want. I think marriage is supposed to be more of a feeling than more like this title, I guess.
Right.
Some people do it because it's like it sounds good to be married. But does it feel good to be married? It's supposed to feel good to be married. Like, it's supposed to
Amen.
get to the point where it's like, I'm marrying them because I love them this much, not because I'm getting married
Hmm.
to them because it just makes sense. No, that's why I think it's perspective. I think people have literally blurred the line of like marriage. Like that's not we're not gonna get married just because it makes sense. We have to literally be fit enough to be married.
Right.
We gotta want to get married. But yeah.
And even just that traditional part of marriage, we talk about like how if we move in together, we have to sleep in the same room, all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like I think in reality, if we go to someone's house and they're married and we see that they're sleeping in separate rooms, we'll instantly think like, oh, they must not be getting along or
Mm-hmm.
they duking it out or something,
Yep.
or it's not working. But in actuality, I think you just learn even probably before marriage or throughout the marriage that you probably work better in separate rooms or
Mm-hmm.
separate bathrooms. I saw Angel, I can't remember her last name, but Angel, she's the clothing designer.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her fiance, or baby dad, I'm not sure, father of her child, sorry. Um actually have separate bathrooms. And if that
Mm-hmm.
works for them, that works for them, And I like that. I like a non-traditional type marriage. But again, if
Yeah.
traditional works for you, then do it.
Then
But
that's
I
fine. Yeah.
love to see a non-traditional marriage, and I feel like non-traditional will work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And that's why I say I think once we realize that people are people of today who are in the dating scene, whatever. Once you realize that really following traditions is not necessarily doing what you want to do, doing something because your parents or because these older people told you like do it, that's not necessarily what you want to do. I mean, when do you get to the
Hmm.
point of I'm an individual? Like, what if you don't want that stuff? I mean, forcing yourself to do it because somebody before me did it is crazy because you're not
Right.
them. You're not in the same era as them. Like even like we talk about all the time, the dating and everything is different now. So you should actually feel like I can do what I want to do anyway. We're not in them same times where them being married is really what they for a lot of them that's all they had, right? A lot of the
Yeah.
women got married because they wanted to be housewives. They wanted to be in the house. That's what they were looking for. A setting for a position for them to be like that. Now
Mm-hmm.
with the independence and individuality that is granted, which it always have, but now it's more of a norm. You should want
Mm-hmm.
to do what you want to do. A
Yep.
tradition, you should be wanting to break traditions. I don't think it should be where you want to do exactly what somebody before you did. No,
Right.
and it feels better to do something different anyway, I think. Um, yeah, and because then if you do that, then you can tell your children to do what they want to do. You should never want to, I guess, tell your child, I did this because they did this, so now you do what I'm doing. No, that's how it
Mm-hmm.
becomes. I guess that's how it become a curse. You got to kind of break the cycle sometimes. So that in this dating period, like people don't sometimes realize like you dating somebody. This somebody you finna to be with, you finna sleep with them, finna do everything with.
Right.
To literally follow some textbook and rule of I got to do this XYZ because people before me did it. That's crazy. You're not gonna be happy. I'm not.
I
I'm not
agree.
understanding that, but that's just me. Yeah.
Before we go to the next one, I just want to say, like, this is Bob is bobbing, baby. Like, still well. Y'all crazy. I just wanted to say that. When and
It's
we
sharp.
just hit me up.
It's sharp. It's sharp.
That it is.
Plug it. Plug it.
Okay, so I thought about my generational curse. Not mine, but like just
Yeah.
overall. It's the one where I think most families or some families have been brought up to think that it is okay to take care of family members in a sense where, especially the ones who aren't working, because I think we tend to see mothers and aunts and grandmas take care of uncles. And that's just an example. We know it's some families probably take care of aunties and grandmas
Mm-hmm.
or whoever, but
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to take care of grandma when she get older. But you know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah.
we have this individual who mentally thinks that they're unable of working and they're
Mm-hmm.
not, and the pressure coming from mom or auntie to take care of this
Grown person.
this able person
Mm-hmm.
to get out and work. I hate seeing that. And I know, like, just that pressure in itself, like I personally haven't went through that, or I only know maybe like one or two people family that does that, but even just watching them, it's just draining for me. I just feel like that does not set the tone for any family having to take care, or that pressure of having to take care of family members.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you look at Gabrielle Union, right, how she said that, she has a lot of anxiety having to worry about, like, are these people's bills paid and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she has money, but at the same time, it's like, why would I rely on Gabrielle unless these people aren't able to work? I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
her to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if my sister made it, I feel like I just made it. So if I need something, I get it from her, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
rely on her to pay my bills. I still need to
Mm-hmm.
get up and go to work unless, you know, she literally just said it. But if I feel like she has anxiety about it, if I heard that, I'm just like, girl, like,
Yeah.
no, we're not about to do that. So just saying that, and I know people that kind of go through that where you're carrying the other people in your family's weight on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and mom sees that, or dad sees that, and aunt sees that, and they're not, doing anything about it. You having a individual who can get up and go to work and do what
Mm-hmm.
they need to do. I'm just not understanding it.
Yeah.
And I hate to see it. I that's one of the worst things I hate to see.
And I think, because I think a lot of people blur the line between helping and enabling. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
people think, and especially family, thinking that because I'm in your, but and let me put this on both sides. So on one end is like this: the person who needs the help, right, feel like I'm entitled to the money or the success or what you getting because we are blood. And that's why a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
family get into it. Like I'm entitled to all this good you got, and I'm entitled to, I got a piece of that because we related. No, no.
Right.
I don't know where it started. Like you said, that's one of them curses. I don't know where it started. I don't know why people think that. Being family does not mean I have to, help you with your bills. It's not an obligation. Being related does
Right.
not mean I'm obligated to give you anything. You know what I'm saying? It'll be nice too because we family, but I'm not
Right.
obligated to give you anything. So yeah, on that end, it's like that's first the people who need the help, they are entitled and feel like because we family, I gotta give you this. Like you doing this, so why you ain't helping your no, I
Yeah.
don't
I'm
owe you
wondering.
anything.
Right. I'm just wondering, where does that come from? Because I see a lot of situations where it's the aunts and the grandmas taking care of an
Mm,
uncle, like a grown man who never worked. And it's like, why has he never worked? Where did this come from? And sometimes at least I feel like, I never heard anybody say it, but I wonder, is it that black man mentality where it's like, oh, they had it rough, black men have it rough type
mm.
thing? I'm
So
wondering, is that, I'm just wondering, is that where it's coming from? I don't,
yeah,
I just want to know.
I think. Oh, let me like you always say, go deep. Let me not lose you. I think it's like when we like go back in time, I guess. So if we go back in time and think, um, I guess just the first family structure.
Mm-hmm.
I think okay, it might have been nice, but like on Earth, there's always good and bad. So I think it was good, like that good structure, and then it's gonna always be that one or two people that feel like they could take advantage of good, or it was too much good, but they had to turn it into bad. So I think once
Mm-hmm.
people saw, especially, and I think that's how the image of like grandmas and certain members in the family being accessible enough for me to ask you. You know what I'm saying? Like where they feel like, oh, I
Yeah.
always go to my grandma and get it because they literally somewhere somehow it became where people literally take advantage of people helping them, and that's when I think that it makes the person who's helping them become an enabler because they probably not seeing it like, oh, they not doing nothing bad. I'm helping them. I'm not doing nothing bad. No, you're enabling
Mm-hmm.
them. They taking advantage of you being nice to them, and you're enabling them by
Right.
so as much as you pay for this. They know they can always come to you. They ain't gonna never feel like they gotta get a job. They ain't gonna never feel like they gotta
Mm-hmm.
get out their feet. You giving it to them. And then like you say, like it always be grown people. These are not children, mind you. It's
Right.
not a problem when it's somebody, underage or something like that. It's when it's a problem when it's an adult. Just like
Yeah.
you had, we always say, I don't even remember who said that. Was it like Trina? Somebody said we got the same 24 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I got up and went to work, made that money and stuff, you can do the same thing,
Right.
in most cases, but we're not talking about the people who can't,
Right.
physically or whatever. But the average person, you got them same 24 hours. You can go get a job, you make all this money. Just like I did, and you can do it too.
Do the
And that's
same.
why I think, and somewhere in between, where is it like the person in that good family structure decided, okay, it's time to take advantage of this. They're giving me, so I'm gonna take, and then not try to get on my own because I got somebody. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
got a bank or whatever. So yeah, somewhere down that line, somebody took advantage, and it just continued. Look at everybody doing the same thing, and that's why I mean, I say I feel bad. It's hard because you want to feel bad for people that get taken advantage of, but then it gets to the point that you kind of can't feel bad for them because it's kind of like I know a lot of people where people helping them and then they be beat down, right? This how it look. I'm helping them. They got giving me nothing back, and I'm going broke trying to help you, and then I'm beat down, and I'm like, dang, I ain't got nobody to help me. But it's kind of like you choosing it, right? Like
Yeah.
you. That's why I think that enabler part. I feel like that enabler is like such a big deal. Like people don't realize how much they enable stuff. Like you
Mm-hmm.
literally can help somebody. It's in it. Like I say, family is family. So it's nothing wrong with you need some one time or you late on ain't
Right.
nothing wrong with helping somebody. We all being
Right.
nice. But for some if you can tell a pattern when somebody come to you every time the
Every
bill
time.
due, you know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing you calling me last month, oh, it was late then. You calling me that same week every time your bill due. And you ain't got to make no change to the last time I paid it. You
Right.
to give them that money to help them, you are enabling them. They're gonna continue that. And you kind of in a way, not saying it's all your fault, but you're literally messing them up. Because what if they don't?
Mm-hmm.
Then what if they don't have you? They're gonna go to the next person and do the same thing. They too
That's
used to
true.
living off somebody or being reliant on somebody. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. Sorry, and I kind of it's hard to feel bad for an enabler. It really is. I
It
don't know,
really is, for real.
but yeah.
I don't.
Mm.
Um, so you want me to say mine, or you?
Oh, I
Okay.
forgot we tick for tack. Go ahead, but you go ahead.
because I had just thought about one too. This was just off the top of the head, while you were talking. It's also one too where I noticed where it's some parents. I won't even say parents. I just say moms who have multiple children and they have their oldest sibling raising the
Ooh.
the smaller kids, right?
Mm.
And I think sometimes like that could kind of be a curse too, because now the kids see the sister or brother or
Mm-hmm.
whoever as the mother figure or the father figure. And I think there's just a lot of pressure to put on a child anyway, where have multiple kids and you have to go out and work and they
Mm-hmm.
have to come home. It's one thing to actually be the older sibling. We know older siblings, you know, watch us when mom's at work or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
where we're changing the diapers, feeding them every day, they're crying, we're going to go get them. If they're hungry, we got to go get them something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
When the kids are literally coming to them as if they're the mom. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I just started to see that a lot too. And I think that could be a curse. For one,
Yeah.
I think it can possibly steer them away from wanting to have their own children, or
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it can keep them there. For one, it'll
Yep.
keep them stuck in the house with you to help you. That they feel obligated to
Mm-hmm.
help you raise children. Or they may be stuck in that cycle where now when they get out of the house, they're having multiple kids. And it's
Mm-hmm.
again like you're helping your oldest child is helping that child. So
Mm-hmm.
well, helping you raise your children. So
Mm-hmm.
I tend to see that a lot too. Like I feel like that can somehow be a curse, like having
Yeah.
children carry the weight of the household to pay
Yep.
bills, go out and pay bills as if they're the father or the mother. Like
Yep.
I can imagine like going
Mm-hmm.
out and having to work at 15. It's one thing to like have to take to yourself and save it,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to work, but having to come home and worry about keeping lights and stuff on, that's
Mm-hmm.
something that a child should just never have to
Not
worry
have
about. And
to.
we know certain situations and stuff like that, I understand, but when it's, I don't know, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say two things on it. So first, I'm gonna say I think the reason it has become a curse is because somewhere, like I always say, curses start somewhere. So somewhere down the line, somebody told I has put the responsibility on children that they're like obligated to and do everything for other children around them. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's why some children mature a little too early. I think it's some things you have to separate with an adult and adulthood and childhood. And a lot of children are blurred in the middle because they are exposed to too much. I feel like a child having to take care of all that and do all that is being exposed to too much. You're stripping them of their childhood.
Right.
There's as a child, you shouldn't have many worries, especially not worries of taking care of somebody else. In some situations, I understand, things happen, like I always say, certain stuff is situational. But for the most part, you are you're stripping on their childhood. I don't see
Yeah.
how a child can be a child having to look after other children. You know what I mean? Like they
Mm-hmm.
can't go enjoy themselves trying to make sure their younger children their younger siblings are enjoying themselves.
Right.
And let me go back to when I say I think it's a curse because somewhere we having this. I can say us. I'm just only speak from my experience. Yeah, our community. That
Mm-hmm.
structure it's kind of off a little bit. So it's kind of like it's for some you have some good parents like like I feel like I have a good parent where the
Mm-hmm.
lines weren't blurred. We were children. We did we did what we are supposed to be doing, and my mom was the adult, and she
Yeah.
handled all the adult stuff. In other cases, you have it where a parent, say if the maybe father is not present, somewhere they feeling like they
Mm-hmm.
have it's a void need to be filled. They look
Mm-hmm.
to a child or they
Mm-hmm.
look to like their oldest because they just closest in age to them, I guess, if you putting it like on a scale with other children. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem. Putting a position and responsibility to it's supposed to be on somebody else, you're throwing it on just whoever next in line. And
Right.
and that it's like this dysfunctional structure. It shouldn't be like that. Yes, it is unfortunate sometimes, to be like that, the only parent, and to have to do it on your own. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't really expect your child to be able to even do
Child.
that. It's a child. It's not an adult.
Right.
And so yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I feel like it takes the children out of all the opportunities they have to just enjoy childhood. They can't do that if they're looking after other children. There's no way, and it's because of this dysfunctional little structure that has been created that a lot of people follow.
Right.
Okay, so my yes, generational curse, and we did say generation, right? Okay,
Yeah.
generational curse would be, I'm gonna just say like this phrase. I hate to hear this phrase. Where if somebody say somebody health or something, oh, it's they just have because they family, it run the family, they big boned, or
Mm-hmm.
they are that side because the rest of their family is. And I hate it.
Yeah.
And for many reasons. So the first would be, I would hate for somebody who can actually fight against genes or to care about their own health to be like making an excuse because they see other people in their family is have bad health and stuff. Well, I was then
Mm-hmm.
people just be like, well, I was gonna get that anyway. I can't do that. My mama and this got no. Especially now when
Right.
you're able to change it. And that's why I say I actually don't even like the big boned phrase because your bones can't be big. But but you know what I mean. The way they use it, like they just naturally are big bone. Like ain't that like no. If you can change it, like it's always ways to make your health better than those before you because they are literally laying out. They're showing you what not to do. You
Yeah.
have literally the main source right in front of you. So some of the health choices, I think, or the well, if they're willing to share, some of your parents and people made, they're able to, tell you that the source, just do the exact opposite of what they're doing. You don't necessarily have to be, what I'm saying? That's why I say we never break a cycle. Like you don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
exactly what was before you. I don't understand it, but
Right.
that's mine. I hate to hear I'm this way because my family and them this way, and our
Oh
health is
yeah.
like this, or my health is like this. No, now when you're able to change it, that's not an excuse. That's something that needs to
I
be
agree.
broken. I hate horrible cycle, but yeah, that's
It
mine.
is. And we hear that a lot. And I'm just gonna speak in general about, not just the health, but mental health,
Mm-hmm.
the way just the small things that we
Yep.
do, we can get comfortable in these things
Mm-hmm.
because mama did it and daddy did it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if people are just acting now or like, we like to say acting crazy and like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
their mama was crazy like that. Oh, they family crazy. And think about if you're telling it to a child, like or just saying it around them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say they come in, even small things. Let's just say how we were raised up. Like when you come in to the house, you're supposed to speak right, or
Mm-hmm.
dang, that could low key be a curse too. But
Loki.
let's just say
Yeah.
that's just an example, right? You come into
Yeah.
somebody's house and you speak or whatever. And let's just say, I just threw my thought off. Thanks. See, this will have time to be funny. But okay, take that out. But mental health, even if let's just say somebody's feeling depressed or just
Mm-hmm.
acting out in school, anything, we tend to see kids acting out about certain things, maybe because their father wasn't there or mother did certain things. And, we tend to think like, oh, that's just how they act. They uncle act like that. They mama don't act like that. And if you're saying that around them, it's kind of
Which,
like you become that.
yep.
Like if even an example for me, because I'm tall, right? So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I feel like I've always been the tallest person in my class, the tallest girl anyway, the tallest
Mm-hmm.
girl in my class. And I think people can automatically assume because I'm tall, like I'm mean or something like that. And if you start to hear people say that all the time, I feel like I have to be mean now because
Mm-hmm.
you're putting that on me and I'm not mean or not
Yeah.
mean, but thinking I can beat up people or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't like that, at least I don't think I came off like that. But
Yeah.
um, when I hear that, I always feel like I had to be this big, tall girl who beats up people, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
not me. So I can
Yeah.
imagine like kids who are younger hearing this, like, oh, yeah, his daddy was crazy. You gonna be
Mm-hmm.
crazy. This okay, and
Oh yeah.
not actually getting to the root of the problem, because I think we like to be comfortable. That's just anybody. Once you get comfortable in this box, this is how I am, I'm not changing,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna change. So I
Yep.
think that can easily become a curse. Even the health part, high blood pressure runs in our family. And even when you go to the doctor, they ask about your family history.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my blood pressure is high too. So by me knowing that, yes, I do blame them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, me being 33, I know the steps that I need to take to get my blood pressure down. So it's only so much blaming I can put on them. Yes, they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it ran in the family. We got it. I need to watch my salt intake.
Yeah.
Now it's on me to fix that, because now it's
Mm-hmm.
my health. It ain't mama no health no more. It's
Yep.
mine. It's affecting me now. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that can easily become a curse. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, and I don't even want to talk about this, but I'm gonna do it. About the generation of curses. So, and because you just said it, and I don't know why I didn't think of that one. I hate that people think it's okay to literally say a child gonna be like that because they parent. Like, I hate this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and let me go and give an example because this TV. But for example, even though he a fool, like like in Power Book, how every time Tariq got into it with somebody, the
Oh
first thing
yeah.
they said was, "You're gonna be like your daddy," or "You this
Yeah.
way because of daddy. You just like because of daddy." That's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Because he
Yeah,
kind
but
of
no, I
was
get
like
you
him.
saying.
Yeah, so he's a little more slick. But in general, like, I hate to see that where people tell a child or whoever it is, especially African American males, tell them, "Oh, your dad was like that. Oh, you gonna be crazy like your dad." Do
Yeah.
you not understand? Like, what if they weren't gonna be crazy? You put it in their head that that's how they gonna be. Stop
Yeah.
saying that to children. Stop inflicting that impressionable children. If they
Yes.
parents whatever was like that, stop telling them that. They gonna start believing it. Like people will literally believe it. And then every time say if they good, every little moment of confusion or something they have, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm like this because they did say my parents was like this.
Right.
Like don't even open that door. I can't stand to hear people say stuff like that. Like you gonna be just like
Yeah.
that because your daddy was like this, or you gonna, oh yeah, she gonna be like that because her mom was like, no, maybe they can be
Right.
different. Stop putting it in, young people's minds. I can't stand it. Please
To me,
break that
it's
cycle.
almost like a way of not, even if a parent saying it to a child, to me, it's almost like you just don't want to parent. You rather just settle in, this how his daddy was, or
Yeah.
this how granddaddy was. So he probably got it
Yeah.
from granddaddy. So
Yep.
it just, and to me, it's almost like lazy parents, and you don't want
It
to
is.
address the real issue. So you rather
So
just
you just
settle
saying,
into believing that stuff like this runs in the family, and it's just not fair.
it
And it's
ain't.
hard. I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't have any children, so it's a
Mm,
lot of people. But
I got kids.
I'm pretty sure it is hard to address certain things to children. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe we need to sit down and address why are you acting out? And because
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure nobody wants to hear the truth about that, but in reality, like, we have to learn to sit down and listen to children and figure out what's really going on instead of
Yeah.
pushing these stereotypes, I don't know, on them. I
Whatever,
said
yeah,
stereotypes.
whatever it is, just quit that.
Yeah, what
Like,
curses, whatever.
yeah, yeah. Take it off of them. Get the shackles out. Oh, I
Right.
mean, not shackles. I mean, get the whatever.
Mm, 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 mm. And then also, to be another main generational curse is parents not supporting financially, mainly financially supporting their children after a certain age. Because
Oh,
we know certain parents, like, after 18 is like, I'm done, I'm free.
mm-hmm.
The slave is at my house. I can do whatever I want to now. I ain't gotta pay no bills. I didn't raise them. I
Mm-hmm.
did what I was supposed to do. You supposed to know everything about this world.
Yeah.
Go out and live free and fall to the bottom. I don't care. That
Mm-hmm.
whole mentality makes me so sick to my stomach.
Yes.
I think, okay, growing up in our times, we used to hear that. most parents saying like, I can't wait till they turn 18. They getting up out of the house. I ain't got to worry about nothing. It's almost like this. Like, did you even enjoy being a parent? Like, it's kind of weird hearing it now at 30. Like, did you really enjoy being a parent? Like, it was that bad? Then you wonder why I ain't got no children. But anyway, so but to me, it's kind of sad watching parents watch their children struggle, especially when you have the resources and when you have the funds to support your kids up to a certain age. Now, let me be clear. We are not talking about kids who
act the fool.
Yeah, active
and make bad
fool.
life
And after you
choices,
done told them, you done got them apartment and they acting up and you still handing out money. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about kids who are able to go out, go to school, needs help in school, paying for school, or even if you have the funds to get them a car, they're good students, they have all A's. It's just kind of like this, oh, we struggle. So now you got to struggle so we can show you how the real world is. And now this affects us in a work life as well. Once we get into this work life, we tend to think like, if just one example, we talk about it all the time at work. Like, if we're physically not moving or doing anything, that means like I'm not working. I got to overwork. I got to do this. I got to constantly be at work every day, not take vacation days because I got to make money, do this. This whole struggle mentality where, if I ain't get it out the mud type thing, it's like, why are we setting our kids up to think that their struggle life is okay when you have the funds to support them? I do not get it.
Yes.
I'm gonna hand it over to you, then I'm gonna go back to it because I'm hot now.
Okay, yeah. So this is I hate them. I think the biggest problem with it is, like we always talk about, I think some parents think that because your child is 18, that you're gonna stop being a parent. No. And when you think that, that means that you probably didn't think the parents the thing through for you did what you did, And I do appreciate me having a parent like, I hate just bringing these, trying to big up people all the time, But just for an example, like I do appreciate I got a parent that literally she still I'm 26 and she's still making sure I got it. If I need it, she gonna give it to me. No hesitation. She ain't gonna feel like don't ask because no. She understands, and that's how parenting is. It doesn't stop, and she like it with my brothers too. It don't stop because I'm of age. I'm still your child. Like that is still your child. So that's the problem. I think outside of the struggle mentality, I think a lot of people think when they have children that once they get to a certain age that you're not a parent anymore. No, half of the people once they get 18, they still in your house.
And we still need you. That's when we mostly need you. It's after 18 because you're throwing us out into the real world. Yes, you gave us this handbook, but now we have to put this handbook to use. What do you mean? Tell me.
Exactly. And now think how when you were that age, how you needed help then, why would you not think your child need that same help? No matter if you got it or not. Think about how your mindset. I feel like a lot of parents don't think about that. And a lot of older people, period, don't think about that. Put yourself in your mindset. Like, I know you might be older, but that brain ain't right. You know what you were going through in them ages when you were teenage. You needed help. You needed a little guidance. You had to look to somebody or look to some example. So what makes you think your child not going to go through the same thing? Especially when you're not even giving them the advice anyway, they're going to have it harder. So because you're supposed to always give for your child, lay it out better for your child than you had to lay it out for you. That's kind of like that one unwritten principle of parents. And I think, most parents want their child to do better than they did. So I don't know why some parents think at a certain age, if I turn 18, I'm not your parent no more. That's crazy. But okay. Now the struggle mentality, I told you, I hate that too. I cannot stand this, like, you gotta be bending over backwards, sweating bad. Because we had to. So I need you to sit there, sweat bad, back need to be hurting, feet need to be hurting for days. Boots leaning, everything. I needed you to be toe down because I was toe down when I was working. And I hate that. And I know maybe some people don't like the advantage, the advantages that we had, the world's changed. it's ways for us to not do as much and still be able to make a living.
Right.
But that does not mean somebody is doing less than what you were doing. It's just different times. And you should want better for your child. If you had to walk with bricks on your back, you should not want your child to do the same thing.
Exactly.
This is not a
It's so
passed
weird.
down idea. Like, no, if you had to do, you as a parent, actually, you do this hard stuff and sacrifices so your child don't have to do the same thing.
Right.
Everything you're doing is for your child not have to do that same thing. So I cannot stand the fact of people just literally, you get this certain age thing. Oh well, you gotta do all this because I did it. No, that's not a part of parenting.
Exactly.
I hate it. I literally hate that. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that. But yeah, that talking about a cycle that need to be broke. It need to be broke and never be able to put back together. But yeah.
Yeah, I see, and we see a lot of celebrities talk about that too. I don't want to call certain ones out, but I will give an example where he has these resources to help his son, and it was kind of like, no, he has to go out and get on his own. And my thing is this: if my son or daughter wants to be what a hairstylist, and I'm working with Nicki Minaj, and she turning 18, 19, and if Nicki Minaj say, oh yeah, bring your daughter along, all this, I'm not gonna be like, no, daughter, you gotta get out, you gotta go hustle and get out. That is so weird, because to me it's almost like, just saying it out loud, it's almost like you want your child to kind of compete with you,
and
or
you want them to
to
fail.
fail. Yeah, like it's I don't know that, and that's the only example I can get off at the top of my head. But he had the resources to help his son, move further in his career. But it was just like, no, I didn't have this, so I had to work for it, and daddy did this, and mama had to go out and work 20 jobs to get where I get. So now you got to go work 20 and do the same thing. That is so weird.
Crazy.
I don't care. Anybody can disagree with me and the ones who say just thinking, giving their child the basic needs like food, water, and clothing. Oh, you good. I did my part, but yet on Facebook needing validation. I don't know if I'm getting off subject, but it is what it is. I just had to say it for feeding your child and clothing them. But when it comes to certain things that really could truly help them venture out into a good career, it's nothing. You want them to go and grind on their own. Like, parenting is more than just feeding, clothing, sheltering you. You really have to be intentional about how you move as a parent and how you set your child up, right? So you want them to be in, good school systems and around positive people with that, because we all know that now it ain't even what you know. It's just who you know. Even what you know no more. It's just who you know. So get them around people where they can network. Like, I just don't understand. And I just did not care for that celebrity. And it wasn't just him. But I think when you put that message out, especially when you have the money and resources and you talking to people who don't have it, it just sets a whole nother cycle. Like, okay, so this rich man saying he help his son. I ain't got no money. I ain't gonna.
That's stupid.
It is so stupid. So if you're a peer doing that, just stop.
Yeah, okay, I ain't call them stupid. Just stop. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that, but then I was just like, nah.
I ain't call them stupid.
Yeah, let's break that.
Yeah.
Let's really break that curse. Like, if you can, I know you've been working hard and doing all that, but help your child out as much as you can. Just remember, training up a child in the way they should go, and they'll never depart from it. I promise you. I don't care if they get in trouble 24/7. They'll eventually get out of it. I promise you they will. You know better. You know better. If you don't know that, you know better.
You know better. And eventually you'll do better. This is what it is. This episode has been about generational curses. We did want to touch a little on generational wealth. And what we see it is, and what do we feel like should be pass through generations. What should parents be doing? What should people, just the older people of every generation, what should they be passing down to the next generations? That'll be beneficial to them. So I'm gonna go first. And for me, it would be knowledge, and I'm gonna go just this time more specifically to financial knowledge. As we know, if you don't know finances, I don't know how you're gonna make it in this world. Especially, well, stability wise, I don't know how you're gonna get there. You gotta know, gotta have the financial knowledge, you gotta know how to do certain things, like you just said, like credit card, how to work with bank, about the banking, even credit score. I mean, just
Yes.
how to handle money, period, how to deal with paying bills, how to manage money, how to save money, how to where to put money at, and that's one thing I think through generations to be passed down. That's kind of like I'm gonna be really honest. Luckily I was taught like a lot of this stuff probably when I first opened an account. That probably was how old it is. I don't even remember. Do you have to be like 18 to open an account?
Yeah.
So I probably was 18.
Well, I think a parent can open one for you.
Okay,
But
that probably what it was. Yeah, and I had
yeah.
the card. So yeah, about 18, that's when I started learning. I didn't really know much about credit until like a few years, like when it really mattered, when I had to,
Yeah.
use it. So, but in general, those are things that that should be passed down to the next generation. I don't see how you can withhold that knowledge. I'm sorry. If you want the next generation to be successful, those are things you kind of have to, you kind of got to drill that into their head. Like credit is important. Knowing how to manage your finances is important. Knowing how to manage, just having money, period. Like having a job is one thing. What you gonna do with the money you making from the job? You got to know how to make it week to week, month to month. You just got to know what to do with money. Because like they say, money rules the world, unfortunately. And you just got to know what to do with that money. You got to be able to just be financially stable. You don't want to just struggle. And that's why I say when you don't pass that type of knowledge, that wealth down, it means you kind of want the next generation to struggle. And that's what you don't want. Even if you had to yourself, I'm pretty sure it's things you had to learn through your struggle. So I feel like the stuff you learned through your struggle, pass it down to the next generation. Help them out. Let them do better than you. Or just always supposed to want better for the people coming up after you. So that's one thing I think financial, just what they say, financial fluency.
Literacy.
It sounds so good. Oh, is it fluency or literacy?
I just said that would I be thinking financial literacy.
Oh well, yeah. Dang, I must not know about finances, but regardless, yes, just not having like a sense and knowledge of how to manage finances. I think that should be passed down through the generation. So that is mine.
I agree. So I'm gonna piggyback off what you're saying with the financial literacy. This just one because it makes me think too. When we see things on social media, we tend to see like, oh, buy land and save it for your kids and save it for them. But to me, that's part of that financial literacy too, is you sitting down with them and letting them know, like, hey, don't sell this land but on the first offer, or just don't sell it at all, or don't do this to this land. It's more than just buying land. And I think we tend to fall into this. Like, I noticed this, like, buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land. It's more than just buy land. Sit down with your children and let them know.
Buying properties too.
Yes, buying properties, land, like the actual financial part of it, the structure, knowing what to do, who to sell it to, when to sell it, why you need to sell it, why you don't need to sell it, literally everything. And that's just picking back off what you're saying. So a one for me also is, we always talking about intentional parenting. Just to me, generational wealth is having a general knowledge about the world. So allowing your kids to travel. And, even with me traveling, from to different countries, you tend to see how other people live. And just think about it. If you have a 13, 14-year-old who wants to learn German or something, I don't know. Set your child up in a way, or in schools and stuff that can help them with that. They have international schoolings. I have actually a cousin who had both of his daughters. One is like 11 and the other one I think is 4 or 5, spent 2 weeks in somewhere in France, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in France, I think. And She goes to international school too. And then just seeing that, it just shows you like that in itself, right there. She can speak French. Because all we think about is Spanish, and learning to just speak like this, you know.
Yep.
It's more to the world than just Spanish or Black people or white people. There are different people out here in the world. Being able to communicate to different people, to me, is generational wealth. Because think about it, if you're bilingual, even if you just know Spanish and English, think about how much money in itself that you can make. You have to set your children up in the way they should go, right? That's in the way they should go. But that's, I think, traveling, and even because I think people tend to see like traveling is this huge expensive thing, and it can be, especially when you do have children. Even if it is just taking them to the water park, because people don't look at that as a big thing. But if you're coming from certain areas, and let's just say you guys drive to, I don't know, Myrtle Beach, and you're coming from a small town in Alabama, you're showing your kids, for one, other people, how to interact with other people, how to act in a restaurant, because we know certain, us growing up in certain areas or something like that, where you act a certain way. And when you go somewhere else, you see, even just flying to California, people act different.
They do.
So I think just showing your kids that it's more than just them out in this world in itself is generational wealth. And it opens doors. That helps you network when you know different things. Yes, schooling, the schoolwork is important, but just that general knowledge, I'm telling you, it's going to take you anywhere. Because I know people talk about degrees and this person don't have a degree or this and that, but that person, most people I know, be having that general knowledge, stuff that I don't know.
That's it.
So yes, shout out to the people with degrees. Yes, yeah, but at the same time, like, just having that general knowledge and having your child know that general knowledge, like have that general knowledge, to me is just generational wealth in itself, because you can pass that down. Oh,
yes. I can't even say nothing on top of it.
And granted, it's more generational wealth topics, but those are just the two that we're thinking about. And we'll hit this topic again maybe in the future. But those are just the top two that we're thinking of right now.
Because it's so much out there. Of course, people are not actively spreading it, but so this episode we covered why am I sounding like we're in school? So basically, since we've been talking about generational curses and wealth, we kind of just want to end it kind of on that same note. So what I would say for the end of this episode, I would say, so people out there, if you just sit there and look at what you're doing right now, if you think that you're doing something solely based off of the fact that someone before you did it, or because you're only doing it because a parent told you to do it, and it's not something you truly want to do, try to change it. Try to start doing stuff based off of what you want to do, and not because that's the tradition or that's this generational thing. It's just a cycle that keep going. Try to be the thing that break the cycle. Try to break it for your children. Try to break it for the people after you. Try to break it for your siblings. Try to just break it for people who are gonna have to make those same decisions when they're in your spot. So just try to do something different. Don't do something because it's just tradition. We have too much freedom to do that. I'm sorry. Nobody told it's not many limitations on what you can do. Even though people make it seem like it's not, it's limitless. So that's all I got.
I think I would just say, I'm gonna stick with the traveling thing and just say, any parents out there, take your kids out, even if it is to, I said traveling, but even just to restaurants and stuff. I think just shows them how to interact with the world, and I think that's just naturally parenting, but still, and also I think it just opens another door as well. Like, even if you turn 18, you don't have to go straight into working. Maybe your child will want to spend a year in France and move there. Like, who knows? Like, don't let that scare you, or thinking about money all the time, because it's just a different way of living in other countries. And it's like,
It
once
is.
you see that, it makes you want to live differently.
Yeah.
So, get your kids out there in the world. Let them see the world. We know kids can act out sometimes. Put them on the plane. Let them see how it feels. Like,
Yeah.
don't, because you
No hiding from
scared.
it.
Now the
Yeah.
kids scared.
Yep.
Just go out and put them on a train and do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do. It's more than them, that their culture out here, and that people view them differently. They have to see this stuff. Don't wait until they turn 18 to be like,
I'll
oh,
be too late. Yeah, I about to say yeah.
it's too late. Let them see it.
Mhm.
So that's how I say, just travel, go, save that money and just go, please.
I agree.
Okay. Well, you guys, that is the end of our episode tonight. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment some of the generational curses that you believe are going on in your family, or some
Yes.
that you've seen. Also, just a few generational wealth things too. So you guys have a good night, and we will see you next time for episode 3. So stay tuned.